Guru Chane Rati Ese Utamagati Je Prasade Pure Sava Asha Prasade Pure Saba Asha Katudan Dilo Je Janme Prabhu se Katudan Dilo Je Janme Prabhu se Devendiyane re prakasito Devendiyane re prakasito Prima bhakti jahoite aven achayate Prima bhakti jahoite aven achayate Mere gya jahara karito Mere gya jahara karito Lokena jivana Lokena jivana Ha ha Prabhu ka doya deho moe parachaya Ha ha Prabhu ka doya deho moe parachaya Kushi Tripuvana Ebejaz Kushi Tripuvana Srila Prabhupada Patita Pavana Srila Prabhupada Patita Pavana Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Bhashyatari Shatarine Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srinivasacarya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srinivasacarya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srinivasacarya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Jaya Om Vishnu Para Parahamsa Parivikracharya Ashtatara Sata Shri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jaya Om Iskcon founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anointa Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Premase Koho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shramakun Randakun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Samaveta Vrinda Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai. Nita Gaur Pramanande. Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Back. Maybe you can. Okay, got it. You can navigate now. Maybe when the class starts, I will do it. Yeah, when the class starts. Yeah, after the class starts, I'll use the laptop. Until then, maybe you can drive. Yeah. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Jai Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jai Shri Shri Radha Madhava Sakhi Vrind ki Shri Shri Gauranitai ki Srila Prabhupada ki Samaveta Bhakta Vrind ki Gaur Premanande. I think we need to create a diploma on how to manage the stand, microphone stand, and get everybody trained on it. Yeah. If you do this up and down without loosening this, that's when it gets damaged. Okay, please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Okay, Hare Krishna, welcome everyone. So today we are reading from Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto number 8, chapter number 7, and text number 44. Thank you, Prabhu. Okay, 8:7:44. This is one of the important verses which usually devotees memorize. So you can try to memorize today. And the last person can say it from memory. Tapyante lokatapena sadava prayasho janaha Paramaradhanam tadhi Purushasyaakhilatmanaha Tapyante lokatapena Sadava prayasho janaha Paramaradhanam tadhi Purushasyaakhilatmanaha Tapyante lokatapena Sadava prayasho janaha Paramaradhanam tadhi Purushasya-akhilatmanaha. Please chant. Tapyante lokatapena sadhava prayasho janaha paramaradhanam tadhi purushasya-akhilatmanaha. 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 Okay, from memory. Tapyante lokatapena sadhava prayasho janaha paramaradhanam tadhi purushasya-akhilatmanaha. Hari Bol. That's the purpose of these recitations in the Vedic school. This is how you get it, right? And the young brahmacharis, 4 or 5 years, from 5, 6 years old onward, they hear once and they remember, right? That's how they used to learn the entire grammar, Vedas. Yeah, if we pay attention, it's not difficult, but we don't, right? I mean, we have to exercise the mind. Okay, let's do word for word. Tapyante, voluntarily suffer. Lokatapena, because of the suffering of people in general. Sadhavaha, saintly persons. Prayashaha, almost always. Janaha, such persons. Parama aradhanam, the topmost method of worshipping. Tat, that activity. He, indeed. Purushasya, of the Supreme Person. Akhila Atmanaha, who is the super soul of everyone. Okay, please, someone can read the translation.
It is said that great personalities almost always accept voluntary suffering because of the suffering of people in general. This is considered the highest method of worshiping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is present in everyone's heart.
Thank you. Let's go to the purport. Maybe someone else can read the purport, first paragraph.
Here's an explanation of how those engaged in activities for the welfare of others are very quickly recognized by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 18:68-9, Ya idam paramam guyam ma bhaktesh abhidashati nacha tasman manusheshu kashyame priyakrita maha. That one who preaches the message of Bhagavad Gita to my devotees is most dear to me. No one can excel him in satisfying me by worship. There are different kinds of welfare activities in this material world, but the supreme welfare activity is the spreading of Krishna consciousness. Other welfare activities cannot be effective, for the laws of nature and the results of karma cannot be checked. It is by destiny, or the laws of karma, that one must suffer or enjoy. For instance, if one is given a court order, he must accept it, whether it brings suffering or profit. Similarly, everyone is under obligations to karma and its reactions. No one can change this. Therefore the Shastra says, Tasyaiva hetu prayate te kovido nalabhyate ya brahmatam upayada. 1518, that one should endeavor for that which is never obtained by wandering up and down the universe as a result of the reactions of karma. So what is that? One should endeavor to become Krishna conscious. If one tries to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world, he should be understood to be performing the best welfare activity. The Lord is automatically very pleased with them. If the Lord is pleased with them, then what is left for them to achieve? If one has been recognized by the Lord, even if they do not ask the Lord for anything, the Lord is within everyone and supplies them whatever they want. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Tesham nityabhyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyam. Again, as stated here, Tsapyante lokatapena sadhava prayasho janaha. The best welfare activity is raising people to the platform of Krishna consciousness, since the conditioned souls are suffering only for want of Krishna consciousness. The Lord Himself also comes to mitigate the suffering of humanity. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutanam adharmasya tadatmanam sujamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chaduskritam dharma sanstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharat, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself to deliver the pious and annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion. I myself appear millennium after millennium. All the Shastras conclude, therefore, that spreading the Krishna consciousness movement is the best welfare activity in the world. Because of the ultimate benefit this bestows upon people in general, the Lord very quickly recognizes such service performed by the devotee.
Thank you very much. Om ajnanatimirandhasya jnananjanashalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai shri gurave namaha mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yatkripatamaham vande shri gurum dinatarinam paramanandamadhavam shri krishna chaitanyamishwaram Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Hanumat Preshaka Swamin Niti Namine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, as I said, this is one of the most important verses for us to know. What canto are we on? Canto 8. What is the title of the canto? What did he say? What the withdrawal of the cosmic creation. Okay, you saw it. Okay, I think that's right. Yeah, Nirodha, 2.10.1 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Atra sargo visargascha Sthanam Poshanam Utayah Manvantareshanukatha Nirodho Muktirashrayah. These are the 10 subject matters of Srimad Bhagavatam. Creation, subsequent creation. And then all these 10 are the 10 titles of the cantos that Srila Prabhupada gives. So this canto title is Withdrawal of the Cosmic Creations. This is sort of suggested by Srila Sridhar Swami, but Jiva Goswami, suggests that these topics are present in multiple cantos. I was particularly thinking the 6th canto is titled Prescribed Duties for Mankind, which is kind of the Manvantara. But in this canto actually you will see a lot of information about the Manus. Okay. So this canto, at the beginning of the canto, in the 7th canto what did we hear about? Yes, primarily about Nrsimhadev. And why did we hear about Nrsimhadev in that canto? Jaya and Vijaya. About when after the 5th canto of the hellish planets, then how do you get out of the suffering? Then there was story of Ajamila, then that continued. And the battle of Vritrasura. And after that Parikshit Maharaj felt Krishna is partial, right, towards the demigods. And then he said, no, Krishna delivers Shishupala and others. And then he got into this, how Hiranyakashipu and all these people have been delivered also. Then then Parikshit Maharaj was inquisitive. Yeah, please tell me about this pastime. Why would a father try to kill a son? That's strange, right? So then that pastime happened. And when that has completed, of course, towards the end there's a description of Varna Ashrama Dharma, because Yudhishthira Maharaj asked questions to Narada Muni. And this whole thing started because of Yudhishthira asking questions to Narada Muni in the 7th canto. And when it ended, Parikshit Maharaj says, okay, now you have very elaborately described to me about the dynasty of which Manu? Swayambhuva Manu. Swayambhuva Manu is the very first Manu. Manu means the creator of the mankind. They are the ones who create the laws, when I say the laws of human society, as well as it is from him that we have descended. The Swayambhuva Manu was the first creation of Brahma. Of course, he had other Manasa Putras, the mental children, but he creates a man and a woman, just like Adam and Eve. So that Adam and Eve is Manu and Shetarupa. He creates a couple, and from them subsequently many generations of human beings are produced. So we all come from Manu. That's why it's called man. M-A-N-U is Manu and M-A-N is man. Prabhupada explains it like that. Manu, and in Sanskrit Manava also means human beings. So he wanted to know about other Manus. How many Manus are there in one day of Brahma? 14, yes. Okay. So 14 Manus, one day of Brahma. And in one day of Brahma, how many ages are there? How many Divya Yugas are there? How many Kali Yugas are there in one day of Brahma? One day of Brahma, 1000. And you divide 1000 by 14, you get about 71. There may be a little bit adjustments here and there. So about 71 Kali Yugas, this Manu is in charge. So you can imagine how long a Manu. And for that duration there is Indra. So Indra is not for the entire day of Brahma. Indra is only for the day of yes, Manu, as long as not the day of Manu, but the life of Manu, the Manu's governing period, the term of a Manu. So you get one Indra. So Parikshit Maharaj wanted to know about all these Manus. So in the first chapter, you can see the title, because I was supposed to speak on the summary of the chapter, but I was sure that not many people know even what's happening in the canto, so I wanted to take a step back and do this. It's better to get a 50 feet view, like, get up and there. You climb on a tree and see where you are going, and then get down and start traveling. This is true with anything, goal of your life. Where are you going? What are you doing? And then get into details, right? Otherwise, we'll just bog down in the details, we forget the higher goal. So we can apply the same principle in education when we study. So in the first chapter, there was description of 4 Manus, Swayambhuva Manu and Swarochisha Manu. He is son of Agni. And then Uttama and Tamasa are the 3rd and 4th Manus. And there's another Manu, he is Raivata, and he is also these 3, Uttama, Tamasa and Raivata, they are children of Priyavrata. Who is Priyavrata? 4th canto. 5th canto? What is in... No, 4th canto is Daksha, Dhruva, Prutu, Prachina, Barhishat. Yes, in the 5th canto. 5th canto is, yes, Priyavrata, Agnidra, Nabhi, Rishabhadev. That's in the 5th canto. So, Swayambhuva Manu had 2 children, Uttanapada and Priyavrata. So, till Dhruva Maharaj, and his progeny continued, and that's Swayambhuva Manu's son, Priyavrata is continuing. And later, Dhruva, Uttanapada's dynasty continued, and Priyavrata, actually Priyavrata is the oldest, but he was a brahmachari, he just left, he didn't want to do anything. So, but it came to a halt, the Dhruva's dynasty kind of came to a halt, and then everybody went and said, hey, Priyavrata, you got to be the king, you have to manage. He said, no, I don't want to do it. And Narada is his guru, he said, don't do. But then Brahma intervened and he said, Brahma said, you got to do it. And then, Brahma is Narada's dad, so he just, all right, okay, go ahead, but be a devotee, right? So, but then he gets assurance, Priyavrata, from Brahma and others, that you will be all right, you will not fall down. You can get married and you can be in charge. So there it is explained, usually a king needs a wife to give that soft side. King needs a wife. So he had to get married and he had to govern, and he had 3 children. Right? He had actually 2 wives and multiple children, 10 from one and probably 3 from the other, I believe. So then Uttama, Tamasa and Raivata, they all became Manus, 3rd, 4th and 5th Manus. Okay? And in the 4th Manu, Tamasa Manu, that's when the Gajendra, so when he was describing about, I wanted to know about other Manus, so he was saying one Manu by one Manu, and when it comes to 4th Manu, he said the Lord, protected Gajendra. I said, hold on, I want to hear the story of Gajendra. Parikshit Maharaj said, all right, okay. So now the story of Gajendra happens. Chapter 2, 3, 4. And then chapter number 5, he starts explaining about the 5th and 6th Manu. And in the 6th Manu, it talks about Kurma, the incarnation of Kurma and Mohini. Then he stops. Oh, yeah, I want to hear about this Kurma. Why were they churning the ocean? What's going on? So Parikshit Maharaj again asks. So that's where we are. We are in this section, chapter 5 through 12, where we are talking about Chakshusha Manu. And Chakshusha Manu is actually a descendant of Dhruva. He is coming from the dynasty of Dhruva. So maybe there is some interruption in between before Chakshusha Manu has appeared. Anyways, so now we are on chapter number 7, verse number 44. Jai Shri Shri Radha Nila Madhav ki Jai, Radha Giridhari ki Jai, Giri Govardhan ki Jai, Nitai Chaitanya Chandra, Nitai Gaura Chandra Bhagavan ki Jai, Prahlad Narsingha Dev ki Jai, Panch Tattva ki Jai, Yashoda Damodar ki Jai, Guru Parampara ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So now we are in this verse, Tapyante Lokatapyana verse. So it's a beautiful verse. One thing I wanted to also point out is this word tapyante lokatapena. So what does the word tap mean? Austerities. And where does it come from? It comes from Tap means ashtar, it also means heat, tapa. Tapa means heat, lot of heat. So tapyante lokatapena. And tapa, as I said, is heat, but it also, by convention, means suffering. Okay, suffering. I want to talk this in one of the bhajans of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Sita atapa batabarishana. Does anyone remember that? Yeah? So we are suffering from heat and cold and rain and wind, and we are staying up day and night and suffering in this world. So tapa is suffering. And have you heard the word tapatraya? Did anyone hear the word tapatraya? What does it mean? The threefold miseries, right? We hear this word threefold miseries. Traya means three, tapa means again suffering, the miseries, tapatraya. What are the threefold miseries? Yes, Adi Daivik, Adi Bhautik, and Adi Yagnik. Adhyatma, Adi Bhauta, Adi Yagna. These three kinds of Adi Daiva, sorry, not Adi Yagna, Adi Daiva. Adhyatma, Adi Bhuta, and Adi Daiva. Three kinds of miseries everybody is suffering, this tapatraya. We are suffering because of the natural calamities. This is Adidaiva, Adidaivic suffering. Without, us doing anything, we must suffer. This is the nature of this material world. Dukkhalayam ashashvatam. This is a place of, this is Devalayam, residence of Devas, the Supreme Adideva, Sri Krishna. It's Devalaya. A library is called Grandhalaya, where there are books. And this material world is called Dukkhalaya. This is the residence of miseries. No matter what you do, you're going to get miseries. You're going to suffer. Even if you're the son of a billionaire, it doesn't matter. As I was saying the other day, the son of Microsoft CEO died. You couldn't protect him. Suffering is mandatory. The troubles, miseries are mandatory. But we can escape the suffering through bhakti. Problems are mandatory, but suffering is optional. Through the process of devotion, we can overcome the suffering. So this is, Adidaivic problems. And then Adi Bhautika, which is the problems created by other living entities. I was living next to the temple in Idaho, but on the other side of my house was apartment of college kids. Many times I couldn't sleep because they screamed, they had parties at night, right? And one day I would hear the sound, chuk, 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 chuk. They got drunk and they were throwing the beer cans in my backyard. I was so mad. I called cops. Cops came and then I told them which apartment they came from. And it was all girls in that apartment. They had other guys in and they were partying. And the cop, he called those girls and he had them pick up all these things. So even though you're not causing problems to somebody, you are sleeping in your own house, but you can't sleep. That's the nature of this world. People, and you're going on the streets, you're driving your car, and the suffering comes to you. Some accident. Or if it is Adidaiva, it may be snowing, it may be raining. Somebody may be road rage. That guy is mad and he just doing some things to you. You have perfect driving record, but somebody hits you. And then Adhyatmika, which is our own, coming from our own body and mind. I was trying to scoop a little bit back because my back was hurting, right? This is the nature of this world. Our mind gives us problems. Our body gives us problems. So this is tapatraya. We're all suffering. And sometimes the sufferings are small, sometimes they are big. So in this chapter, what was the suffering that came upon? Was churning the suffering in this particular context? Of course, churning was also suffering. I'll explain that a little bit. What is the major suffering that's happening at this point in the chapter?
The mountain? No.
Mountain was also suffering in the previous chapter.
Is it the poisons coming out?
Yes, they were churning. They were churning. Who were churning? Huh? They didn't have our nice Blendtec blender. Huh? It could have done, and every nectar would have been produced, right? So the Devas and the Asuras, they were churning. Why were they churning? Why do they want the nectar? Immortality. Why? No one wants to die? Take over the world? Why were they churning? These are good answers, but what was the main one? How did they even get there? Vishnu. Yeah, the demigods wanted help. Why did they want help? What? The demons took over again, almost took over. They were almost. The reason that was happening was because of a garland. The reason behind this was a garland. Wow. Mystery. So one time Indra was going, and don't ask me there's another thing in here, I don't tell you because it will confuse you, okay? I want to stay away from my brain. So, anyway, Indra was going, and Durvasa Muni saw him and he gave him a garland. And Indra took the garland and casually he just put it on his elephant's trunk. And the elephant took it and whirled it and smashed it and trampled it under its feet because it was just an animal. And Durvasa Muni got angry. You don't know how to respect this prasadam from me. So Durvasa curses him to lose all your opulence. And Indra uses his opulence, and they become weak, and the demigods, demons start, taking over. They go to Brahma, Lord Brahma, please save us, and Brahma takes them to Vishnu. They offer prayers, and Vishnu says, okay, you have a problem, but sometimes you have to really solve the problem. You cannot just say, I'm right, you're wrong, and get it done. You need to kind of be intelligent to work together and do what's necessary. He says, this time you can solve this problem by working alongside the demons. You need to get some nectar, but you need the help of the demons. So you go convince the demons to churn this milk ocean, and then you together work towards it. So you have to become humble. And you have to, you have to make what's the English words? Yeah, truce with them. Sandhi in Sanskrit. You have to make a truce with the demons. And so they do that, and they get the demons to agree. Bali Maharaj and others were on the other side. Probably Bali Maharaj's devotion was not fully manifest by that time. So they were churning. They wanted to churn. But in order to churn, they need the Mandara mountain. So they were trying to bring the Mandara mountain, and it caused the suffering. They couldn't bring it, and they were crushed. And they died actually underneath that. And then Ajita, who is the Vishnu, is in this particular Manvantara. So he just comes on the Garuda, and he just picks up and puts it on the back of Garuda, and he rides it to the milk ocean. And he brings all of them back to life, and they all come. And they wanted to churn, and they were churning. But even before the churning, now what do you need to churn? You need a rope. So they bring who? Who do they bring for churning? Vasuki. He's the king of the serpents. They bring the Vasuki. And now they wanted to, so who brought the mountain? Vishnu, Krishna. And now Vasuki, they were churning. So what does Ajita do? He goes and he kind of goes and holds the mouth, the face part of the Vasuki. And the demons see that, oh, what's going on here? You guys are holding the front and we should hold the back? No. You don't know who we are. Our birth is so great. We are demons. We are very powerful people. We are very educated. How can we hold the back? That's an insult for us. We want to hold the front. And then immediately Vishnu, he said, all right, okay. He just leaves and comes back, and all the demigods, they were a little unhappy, but they're just following Vishnu here. They're following Ajita. So they come back and they hold the front. And they start churning. But then what happens, the mountain starts sinking. Okay, actually even before that, when they are churning, the Vasuki, he's emanating these fumes from his mouth. Because, if we take you and wrap you around and do this, what happens? You're so tired. So he's going, and from his mouth this heat is coming. And the demons were like, why did we cast the front? We should have caught the back. Right? And the demigods, they were also tired, but they were not as in difficult situation as the demons were. So sometimes just accept Krishna's plan. It's good for us, right? So when they were tired, then the Lord sends the clouds and pours some rain and nice breeze. Okay, they got relieved. But then it's sinking. Then what needs to happen? Then the Kurma Deva appears. And he was 800,000 miles. What is the size of the earth? What is the radius? What is the diameter of the earth, statistician? The diameter is 8,000 miles. Okay, let's say, I wasn't quite sure whether they were talking about diameter or the square, or the circumference or the area. I wasn't sure. Okay, so if it is 8,000 miles, what's the area? Statistician. What's the area of the circle? Formula? Pi r square, right? So the maximum, you could say, even if you take the center, so 3 times 8 squared is what? 864 times 3. So that's even less than 200,000. So this is 800,000 miles, Kurmadev, so big. On top of that, you put Mandarachala mountain and you're churning. So okay, they are getting there, but what's happening is this mountain still is not holding up. And one of the reasons it's being done is because Kurmadev, he wanted a little massage. So he's getting a nice massage, but the mountain is still not steady. So then again, Vishnu appears with 1,000 arms and sitting on top of the Mandarachala mountain, and with one hand he's kind of balancing it. And now they are churning, and this time it's kind of working, but they're getting tired. And then again, and Vasuki, imagine his body is being ruptured against this mountain, and he's suffering, and the demigods and demons, everyone are suffering. And then Krishna enters again into the bodies of all of these. He enters into the mountain, he's on the top of the mountain, he's at the bottom of the mountain, he enters into the demigods as mode of goodness, he enters into the Vasuki as the mode of ignorance, he enters into the demons as the mode of passion. Because demons are in the mode of passion, the more you get it, then you can get the work to get the nectars, and demigods are in the mode of goodness. That's what stimulates them to do their job. And Vasuki in the ignorance, because Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur explains that in the mode of ignorance, your consciousness is dull. So for example, the trees, they're tolerating, but because their consciousness is dull. With our consciousness, if we have to stay there, we suffer. So when consciousness is turned off a little bit, then Vasuki can, okay, all right, use me the way you want. And the suffering is not there. So what happens if somebody gets hit by something and there's so much pain? What do you do? What do doctors do? But how do doctors treat him? They first give him the painkiller. What does the painkiller do? It numbs them down. I hate to take painkillers when I'm sick because I can't think properly, like, what's going on in the class, right? It's so dull. So in the mode of ignorance, Vasuki was able to manage the pain. And then what happened? Now they're doing churning. The poison comes out. We work very hard and then we get a problem. And we want to give up, right? It seems poisonous. So we cry for help. So they cried for help. This time, now Krishna did everything. He brought the mountain. He entered the mountain. He got at the bottom of the mountain. He got at the top of the mountain. He entered the Vasuki rope. He entered the guys who are churning. Everything he was doing. So Krishna is the one who does everything. And what is our role? Nimitta matram. Means just be an instrument. Krishna tells Arjuna, Nimitta matram bhavasavyasachi. Savyasachi means who is expert, ambidextrous. So he is very powerful in throwing the arrows with both the hands. So he is telling him, you just become an instrument, Arjuna. Because Krishna is doing everything. That's the only thing we need to pray for, is to be an instrument. So when this poison comes out, now this poison is so powerful, it can destroy the entire creation, entire universe. So then how do we escape from everybody is scared of this poison. So on the advice of Krishna again, they all go to Lord Shiva. And the Prajapatis, they offer prayers to Lord Shiva. And these prayers are one of the most bewildering prayers for me in Srimad Bhagavatam. Because in these prayers, they are saying to Lord Shiva, you are the Supreme Person. From you comes the three modes, passion, ignorance, and goodness. And you're the creator, the maintainer, the annihilator. You're the super soul in everyone's heart. Wow, like what's going on here? It's a Prajapati speaking. But in here, Srila Prabhupada explains that actually they are offering these prayers to the Supreme Lord Vishnu, Krishna. So they are seeing him as Vishnu. And their level of understanding is, it seems to me, that till the point of Brahman, these Prajapatis. Because Krishna says, Name vidusuragana prabhavam namaharshayah ahamadirhi devanam. He says, even the Name vidu suragana, the suraganas, they don't know me. I am their source. So you see in Bhagavatam also this bewilderment. When Atri Muni was praying, he was just praying for the Supreme, and all the three Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva came. Because he wasn't even clear who he's praying for. He didn't quite have that understanding. I mean, we are fortunate to have this understanding by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but great sages, they don't have full understanding. And even the Kumaras, only after they saw Vishnu, their understanding was full. So anyway, so here they are seeing Shiva as not different from Vishnu. In that mood, they are offering these prayers. And then Shiva agrees to drink poison. And let's see, this verse, who is speaking this verse? Shukadeva Goswami is speaking this verse. I'm going to go to chapter view. So after the Lord Shiva, and he takes the permission, now if you're going to drink poison, you're a married man, and the poison may kill you, what do you do before you drink? What? Write a will, okay. Other than that, what will you do? What do you do? Take some antidote. So there's a chance that you're going to die from one action, and you're a family man. What do you do? Go to your wife, right? Even if you want to take sannyas in Iskcon, you must have your wife's permission, because you're a civil dead man. taking sannyas, right? To take your wife's permission. So Lord Shiva was an example. He went to his wife. He told his wife, this is the situation. I want to help these people. I want to help the humanity. I want to help the entire creation. So therefore, Bhavani, my dear gentle wife, I want to perform this benevolent activity. And when I do that, when we do this action, Krishna is pleased. And when Krishna is pleased, I am pleased. Jai Shri Shri Radha Neela Madhav ki jai, Nitai Chaitanya Chandra Nitai Gaur Chandra ki jai, Yashoda Damodar ki jai, Radha Giridhari ki jai, Giri Govardhan ki jai, Prahlad Narsingha Dev ki jai, Shri Shri Panch Tattva ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So then he takes the permission of his wife, and then he drinks the poison. And of course, the poison is on his throat. It turns into a beautiful decoration, like an ornament. So, but this action is what is being praised here, is the great souls, they take, Shukadeva Goswami says, they voluntarily undergo suffering for the welfare of the living entities. And Srila Prabhupada, as we read in the purport, he explains what is the highest welfare activity? Preaching. Preaching. Because, as I said, we have suffering. Now, many people try to perform welfare activities to relieve people from suffering. I was trying to do that before I became a devotee. I was part of a non-profit organization that is promoting India's welfare. And we were sending money for various projects, and it dawned on me that, okay, but I am not transforming those people. I am helping for their economical benefit, but their character is not being changed. They still drink, they kill animals. How do I ensure that they don't turn into criminals just by economic welfare? Then I realized really transforming people's character is the true welfare activity. And when I, read Bhagavad Gita, when I studied Bhagavad Gita from devotees, then I felt, wow, this way we can transform people. And I have seen in my own life, the lives of my family members, very quick transformation happens when someone becomes a devotee. All the good qualities come in a devotee. So then when that happens, you are saving people from birth, death, old age, disease. So if you want to help a poor man, you can only help just for short duration. But there's no guarantee that that person will not become poor for another billions of births. There's no guarantee. Now, if you want to save him from becoming poor for the next billions of years, make him a devotee. He'll go back to Godhead. So any problem we are solving is temporary. And only one problem we can solve, but there are many problems. But if that person becomes a devotee, we can give a permanent solution. So the first thing is, in order to solve something, we need to understand problem. If I say, this room is so cold, and you say, Prabhu, should I turn down the volume of the microphone? Is that the right solution? You need to understand what the problem is. Where is the cold coming from? What is the solution for it? So, Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi, Dukkha, Doshanu, Darshanam. Real knowledge means we need to understand the problem. You cannot solve a problem that you cannot understand. And that's what is going on in this world. We don't understand the problem, but we are trying to solve it. And what's happening in that problem? Dukkaushadam tadapi dukkham. Prahlad Maharaj tells Narsingadev, hey Narsingadev, these people are trying to solve the problem. They're trying to give a medicine for the problem. But their medicine is creating more problems. Dukkha aushadam tadapi dukkham. So therefore Prabhupada beautifully in this purport explains that the real problem is lack of Krishna consciousness. And those who sacrifice their life for preaching, they are the most glorious. And that's why Prabhupada is citing from Bhagavad Gita. So this example of Lord Shiva, even preparing, drinking that poison for the sake of the welfare, is same as devotees sacrificing their life for preaching. And Prabhupada cites this several times, and there are many classes on this. Today, this morning, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, I was washing Tulsi Arti plate, and one devotee had Tamal Krishna Maharaj lecture going on, and he was saying the same thing. This is the highest welfare activity is preaching, and he said Prabhupada wanted every devotee to preach, not only the temple brahmacharis. Everyone has to preach. So I'll stop here. Any questions, comments from anyone? Sorry, I took a long time because I wanted to kind of get the background and where we are going, what's happening in this chapter. Anyone?
What does it mean to preach if you're not a temple brahmachari?
Well, Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, you go to work, you take some books. And you are going shopping or anywhere, just keep some books with you, and whoever you come in contact, try to preach to them. And particularly through my experience, there's more is you can preach to your family members, you can preach to other people, your friends and others in the society, by inviting them to your home and making friendship with them, because as soon as you say a family man, you must have a community. Sannyasis and brahmacharis can be in one way secluded, but grihastha means community, right? So your children's school, and your office, and all the friends. So wherever you go, you speak about Krishna consciousness. You distribute prasadam, you distribute, literature and support others, right? So there's so many ways. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur was a grihastha. So many Mahajanas are grihasthas, right? And particularly the Mahajanas are the ones who, their instructions, by their teachings, you can see that they are Mahajanas. So there are many examples of grihasthas, and Prabhupada was also trying to preach as a grihastha, and of course finally he took sannyas. Sannyas ashram is the best for preaching, but it can be done in any ashram. Yes, yare dekhe tara kaho Krishna upadesh. Anyone else? Yes. Manu is the name, is the position, Swayambhuva Manu, the head, you could say the kind of the father of the mankind. But Manvantara is the duration, the period, the change of the Manus. Yeah. Okay. We'll stop here if there's nothing else. Granthara Srimad